some of the older stuff, they used to take like a black Sharpie marker, just black out what they didn't want, and then rescan it. And I'm going to show you how they do that. When I say they cover something up with black, this is what I mean. Oh, what do we got here, NASA? Whoa! There's numerous photos that they do this in. Numerous. I can't even count them. You know, look at some of this stuff. But this is what's going on. This is what NASA's doing. And then they release this stuff to the public. This is from the Cassini probe. This is Titan. I don't even believe that this is here, first of all, okay? There's definitely something behind it that's emitting all types of light. Now, if you can tell me how this is not, look, they just covered part of it. I don't even believe that this is, I believe that this is just cut in. It's too much of a perfect circle. They used like a circle tool and just cut this out and pasted it, as far as I'm concerned. But this nonsense, this is what I mean when I tell you that NASA's blacking something out. This is.
So while we all went about our lives yesterday, we came very close to a catastrophic event here on planet Earth, and we didn't know about it. It turns out we just missed getting hit by an asteroid, a piece of solid rock, roughly the size of a 10-story building. Now, I say just missed because it came within 45,000 miles of us. That's a lot closer than the moon is, and scientists say way too close for something that big. Had it struck, again, the people who tell us about these things, say the impact could have had the force of 1,000 Hiroshima-strength atomic bombs over a huge area of the Earth.
There are quite a few theories about how the world might end. For example, it's been suggested that there could be a big solar storm which would take the world out. Well, we get solar storms from time to time, and they're a bit troublesome if you're an astronaut. Indeed, not good news if you're an astronaut. But down here on Earth, we're protected by the Earth's magnetosphere, the effects of the magnetic field. And okay, solar storms can disturb that. They can produce currents in power lines that sometimes cause trouble. They can take out satellites, stop satellites working. So they could affect our GPS and any telephone calls that go by satellite, for example. But they're not going to end the world. Every so often, asteroids do hit the Earth. We know, we can see some of the craters. There's Meteor Crater, or Barringer Crater as it's properly called, in Arizona. And there's traces of a very big crater, partly on the Mexican Yucatan Peninsula and partly under the sea. That big crater was the result of an impact about 65 million years ago, and it's thought that's what caused the extinction of the dinosaurs and many other things. So a big thing like that could cause us some problems. Broadly speaking, what happens is when something big like that impacts, it not only makes a crater, it kicks up a whole lot of dust into the atmosphere. And the atmosphere cuts out the sunlight, and that stops crops growing and foods fail and there's starvation and so on. So that is something we need to look out for, and we are looking out for. There's an array of telescopes all around the world monitoring the sky night after night, actually monitoring about 1,000 potentially hazardous objects, things that might come and hit the Earth one day. As they monitor them, they discover that the vast majority of them won't, that as they get the orbit more accurately, they see it'll miss the Earth. But if there was something coming to hit the Earth, we'd get 2 or 3 years' notice. And even with today's technology, we could divert it so that it didn't impact the Earth. And there's research going on all the time which will improve that technology so that it gets easier to divert an incoming asteroid. We've got no knowledge of any big asteroid coming to hit us. Some of the techniques they use to deflect an asteroid, one of them is to paint it white all over. which means it reflects sunlight very well. And the sunlight bouncing off the asteroid will push it sideways.
From Plato's Republic was the idea that population should be controlled and unwanted life should be disposed of like trash. In other words, that some were worthy of life and others weren't. This is a concept that comes through in Darwin's ideas about survival of the fittest. If we are evolving towards individual perfection by natural means, that would mean that collectively we are in fact evolving towards a utopian society of perfect men and women. However, in that case, those with perceived poor genetic material would be slowing that collective evolution, and so the whole process could be accelerated by getting rid of those who are not made of the right stuff. The end goal of a utopian society of purebred humans would justify the means of getting rid of the lesser ones. Remember that the full title of Origin of Species was On the Origin of Species by Means of Natural Selection or the Preservation of Favoured Races in the Struggle for Life. One of the major influences on Darwin was a man called Thomas Malthus, who received the blessings of French deist Jean-Jacques Rousseau and famous Scottish philosopher David Hume. Incidentally, David Hume has a prominent statue on Edinburgh's Royal Mile, and if you look at the back of it, you will see this sun god symbol. Now, Thomas Malthus authored a document called The Essay on the Principle of Population, where he concluded that, amongst other things, society should adopt policies that prevent the human population from growing disproportionately larger than the food supply. Malthus, again finding a root in Plato's Republic, proposed genocide to make sure this didn't happen. Specifically, he thought to target the poor. He says, "Instead of recommending cleanliness to the poor, we should encourage contrary habits. In our towns we should make the streets narrower, crowd more people into the houses, and court the return of the plague. In the country we should build our villages near stagnant pools, and particularly encourage settlement in all marshy and unwholesome situations. But above all, we should reprobate specific remedies for ravaging diseases, and those benevolent but much mistaken men who have thought they were doing a service to mankind by projecting schemes for the total extirpation of particular disorders." Malthus believed that by such methods the undesirables in society could be effectively culled. He said regarding children, "We are bound in justice and honour formally to disclaim the right of the poor to support. To this end I should propose a regulation be made declaring that no child born should ever be entitled to parish assistance. The illegitimate infant is comparatively speaking of little value to society, as others will immediately supply its place. All children beyond what would be required to keep up the population to this desired level must necessarily perish, unless room be made for them by the deaths of grown persons." The logic behind the idea that those who serve society least should be destroyed was echoed under Darwinism in the survival of the fittest. The individual is lost in the collective. Again, the end of a utopian society justifies the means of killing the poor and the weak. This naturally leads to another idea put forward by Plato, that people who are perceived to have pure genetic materials should be encouraged to breed amongst themselves to produce a race of supermen fit for ruling over the masses. This selective breeding is called eugenics. Eugenics actually found its Enlightenment-era origin in Charles Darwin's cousin, Sir Francis Galton. Galton regurgitated the thoughts of Plato in his work, Hereditary Genius, which was basically a racist tirade advocating a system of selective breeding for purposes of providing more suitable races or strains of blood a better chance of prevailing over the less suitable. In other words, trying to artificially speed the upward course that evolutionists thought we were naturally already on. In truth, selective breeding had been practiced for some time amongst the elite. Inbreeding was commonplace amongst the ruling class to protect the genetic purity of their future stock. Galton merely took this idea and popularized it as a legitimate science. This very same tradition was in fact practiced by Charles Darwin himself in the hopes of maintaining a genetic superiority in his own bloodline. Darwin married the youngest granddaughter of his maternal father. Researcher Ian Taylor reveals the outcome of this project. Darwin's idea of inbreeding to produce superior stock can be seen to be a complete disaster in the case of his own 10 children. Of the 10, one girl, Mary, died shortly after birth. Another girl, Anne, died at the age of 10 years. His eldest daughter, Henrietta, had a serious and prolonged breakdown at 15 in 1859. 3 of his 6 sons suffered such frequent illness that Darwin regarded them as semi-invalids, while his last son, Charles Jr., was born mentally retarded and died in 1858, 19 months after his birth. Science has shown that inbreeding actually leads to speedier destruction of the genetic code rather than evolution because of something called biological mutations, which is why so-called purebred dogs are in fact more prone to health problems than mixes. The errors in their genetic code multiply as they are bred amongst themselves over long periods. But where true science fails, the religion of scientism continues stubbornly on. If they had followed God's wisdom in Leviticus 18, they would have heeded the warning not to commit incest, and they would have been all the better for it. In their own human wisdom, however, they persisted and reaped the consequences. The idea of eugenics continued to be promoted in the scientific community for a long time afterwards. At the turn of the 20th century, in 1901, the Statistics Department of London's University College became the headquarters for the Eugenics Education Society. Motivated by Galton's vision of a future utopia, ruled by a genetically engineered pure elite, the Eugenics Society grew into a successful political movement and would eventually inspire Hitler's Holocaust against the Jews. Population control is still a big issue for the elite today. As recently as May 24, 2009, The Times reported of a secret meeting of billionaires held in New York City, including the likes of Bill Gates and Oprah Winfrey, where the #1 issue on the agenda was how to cap the global
Look at it. This is what's washing up. And as it washes up, it's bringing all these jelly things. What is that? It's all over.
State warns on EMP. There's no help coming. Oh, this was interesting. Washington. Arizona Governor Jan Brewer has signed legislation to require the state's Department of Emergency and Military Affairs to prepare materials outlining what citizens need to know to deal with either a natural or man-made electromagnetic pulse event that could knock out the vulnerable electrical grid system over a wide geographical region. But if this isn't another red alert for you, I don't know what else to tell you. The legislation, SB 1476, was introduced by Senator David Farnsworth. It includes the type and quantity of food, water, and medical supplies that each person should stockpile in case an EMP occurs over the U.S. What? The legislation, however, doesn't require actual hardening of the grid within a state. Unreal. And, Russia sanctions, I almost read the NBA bans, Russia sanctions not tough enough yet, analysts say. Well, if they get any quote-unquote tougher, they're going to be really attacking Putin, and that's just going to make him mad. I mean, it's not doing anything. It's actually creating another financial system to fall back on when this one collapses.
So, do you believe in global warming?
Yes, I do. Global warming is a bad way to phrase it. Do I believe in climate change? Yes. Yeah, to an extent I do.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Why do you believe global warming?
Because there's scientifically valid proof that global warming exists. Because it's getting hotter and colder. Like, I've been in Georgia my whole life and we've never really seen snow the way we've seen it the past 2 years. Yeah, so.
Because I think that humans have an effect on the planet that has been observed through scientific reasoning.
I mean, because it's been proven, like scientific evidence shows that global warming is real. So, plenty of studies that indicate over the last 30 years what shit's going on if we're not too careful. Like, no, we're gonna ruin our Earth. Yeah.
It's self-evident. The ice is melting. We're all doomed. We're all gonna die.
Matthew, it's August the 30th, 2016, and I'm looking up at the sun, and you can see that object now by the sun. You can see the chemtrails, all the chemtrails that are going to be covering this heavenly body up there by the sun. You can see that now, can't you guys? There it is. There's the heavenly object. This is what they're hiding, guys, up there in the sky. 100% proof now, guys. Can you see that, guys? 100% proof. There's an object up there that's been hidden by the chemtrails. You see that, guys? 100%. 100% in the sky, guys. This is what the government are hiding. This is what they're chemtrailing, guys. You can see these chemtrails everywhere. What they're hiding. There's the heavenly object, guys. There it is, guys. See the chemtrail? This is what they're hiding up there, guys. There's the sun, or the artificial sun, or something else. I don't know what it is, but there is the heavenly object. Chemtrails. There it is, guys. There is your 100% proof that they're hiding a celestial body up there, guys. The time is now 12:30, 1:45 in the UK, North East Links. There it is, guys. I'm Matthew, and I'm showing you the heavenly body that's by the sun, guys. This object, when it goes, when it comes to like 2 o'clock, 5 o'clock, it comes from the right hand. It goes to the left-hand side. Comes to the left-hand side. At the moment, it's on the right-hand side. It moves like a comet. This object moves like a comet in the sky, guys. Time to believe. There it is. 100%. 100%. There is the object, guys. There it is. No lens flare, no sundog, just the object 100%. And thank you for subscribing to my channel. I'm using my HD Canon camcorder. I'm using a solar lens, but it's a proper lens. It's just a normal lens with the solar lens, so it doesn't cause the sun to be so 100% bright. It takes a lot of the glare away. And with the glare away, there it is, the hidden object. You can see the chemtrail just about to hide the object. Have a nice day, guys. There you are.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Good morning, good afternoon, or good night. This is Mike from Someone's Bones, www.someone'sbones.com, bringing you the latest and greatest Nibiru news and information. On January 4th, we published an article containing information obtained via Dr. Damir Zakharovich. That's Dr. Damir Zakharovich, a famed Russian astronomer and former scientific aide to Russian President Vladimir Putin. Dr. Zakharovich claims that a Nibiru fragment ejected from the Nibiru system is currently approaching Earth and will strike on February 16th. That is February 1/6. He asserts that NASA, aka Never a Straight Answer, is colluding with the government to hide this information to prevent worldwide panic. Our story has met with a lot of criticism, but was also picked up by other alternative press and mainstream news like Drudge, the Daily Mail, and quite a few respectable news sources across the entire globe. Yesterday, we obtained new information from Dr. Zakarovich. I'm going to read the story, link all relevant information below, and then I will offer some comments on the story and the information that has been given to us up until this point. So stay tuned, and the headline reads, Nibiru Fragment to strike New York February 16th, says Russian astronomer. And the story. On January 4, famed Russian astronomer Dr. Damir Zakarovich stunned the world by revealing the existence of a large asteroid that will strike Earth on February 16. First reported by this website, Dr. Zakharovich's claims rippled through alternative news before gaining mainstream media coverage. The Daily Mail, The Sun, the Daily Star, and several Australian newspapers reprinted the article in last-ditch attempts to warn their readers of the impending threat. Since going public with his findings, Dr. Zakharovich has met with seething hatred and biting criticism. NASA rejected his data, calling it an apocalyptic fantasy, adding that the asteroid-like object officially named 2016 WF9 is spinning harmlessly through space in cyclic orbit around our solar system. However, Dr. Zakharovich insists that his theory is backed by scientific fact and empirical evidence, and that NASA refuses to acknowledge the threat because it would mean revealing the true origin of the cosmic interloper, the Nibiru system. As I said before, Dr. Zakharovich said, this object was ejected from the Nibiru system, a solar system smaller than our own, approximately 140 million kilometers in diameter. Like balls on a pool table, sometimes asteroids bump one another and get pushed out of orbit. In this case, the asteroid was pushed so fast and so hard that it spun twice around the brown dwarf and headed straight for Earth. It gained speed by the slingshot effect when it circled behind the dark side of the sun and is now on its way to hit Earth on February 16th. Asked why NASA is concealing the truth instead of alerting the public, Dr. Zakharovich added, NASA is protecting itself. It keeps the Nibiru reality very secret, or so it thinks. NASA knows that revealing such a threat would cause an immediate breakdown in social services worldwide, and that mass hysteria and panic would cripple society. And this is just over the asteroid, not even Nibiru itself. Now I speak because I have new information to share. First, Dr. Zakharovich explained why NASA's data on 2016 WF9 size and mass differs from his own. The space agency claims that 2016 WF9 is approximately 1/2 to 1 kilometer in size, while Dr. Zakharovich's research reveals a much more dangerous object, a deadly 2.2 kilometer Nibiru fragment that has markedly gained size and mass during its trip through the outer solar system. And he says, the Nibiru fragment may have been 1/2 a kilometer when it left the Nibiru system, but as it moves through space, it slowly grows in size. To use an analogy, if you take a snowball and roll it down a hill, it will get larger the further it travels. Nibiru fragment much the same. Although its core is a nickel-iron composite, the outer sheath is a porous tritium membrane, allowing the fragment to accumulate space dust as it travels. The more it travels, the more dust it collects, and thus grows bigger. I and my colleagues used Russian supercomputer Kpro to make these determinations. Moreover, Dr. Zakharovich says he can now pinpoint the projected impact area. And he says, I predict the Nibiru fragment will strike a small hamlet called Kuroga Lake, that is Kuroga Lake in upstate New York, with a 40,000 kilometer margin of error. Told that his margin of error encompasses the entire globe, Dr. Zakharovich said, no one is perfect. No one is perfect. We make the best guesses we can with available technology. United States must prepare. Russia must prepare. Everyone, everywhere must prepare. End of story. Okay. And there we have it, another piece of evidence regarding this imminent threat to planet Earth. Regardless, I plan to keep calm, and I live in New York. But what can anybody do with 2 weeks' time to prepare for an apocalypse? Do I know for sure this will happen? Hell fucking no. As always, I am merely providing information that has been given to me by experts in their field of study and information that I have vetted to the best of my ability. We should all evaluate evidence with critical ears and critical eyes and do our best to explore the truth. I'm going to punch out here. If you appreciate our information, hit that subscribe button and visit us at www.someonesbones.com. This is Mike signing out. I hope everybody has a great Monday and the rest of the week passes without Nibiru killing.
There's a giant asteroid flying towards Earth. Detected by a Russian robotic telescope, it's one of the largest and most dangerous space rocks approaching our planet's orbit. RT's Murad Gaziev looks at the threat from the void.
Humanity's last experience with a large asteroid was painful. Almost 2 years ago, the Chelyabinsk meteor, traveling at 19 kilometers a second, exploded in the skies above Russia. The blast was dozens of times more powerful than an atomic bomb. But that meteor was only 20 or so meters in diameter, weighing about as much as the Eiffel Tower. This new asteroid is an entirely different story. It's 20 times bigger, the size of a village, weighing millions of times more. If this asteroid, for now called 2014 UR116, flew into our atmosphere, it wouldn't just burn up in the air and shatter windows. This would hit the planet's surface, potentially killing millions. But calm for now. It's not yet on a collision course with Earth. The danger is, as it passes near planets and the sun, gravity could alter its path. In fact, the Russian Space Agency, which detected UR116, has satellites watching just for such objects. And it's not only Russia. An American observatory a decade ago detected another similar asteroid. There was a big scare about that, if you remember. Apophis was named after the Egyptian god of evil, and asteroids its size hit Earth on average once in 80,000 years. NASA gave it a very real chance of impacting our planet, though that was later revised down. But the danger from asteroids is very real, and astronomers are increasingly keeping an eye out and thinking about what to do if they confirm a collision course, though don't expect anything quite as dramatic as Bruce Willis leading his team of misfits to save the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is James LaFleur, the Impossible Channel, and I want to talk about something really serious. I want you to share this right now. This that you're seeing here was reported and emailed to us today. Okay, so it's happening. The ISS is not fake, and it may be rigged. They may be using a GoPro, but it's not fake. And we have another light source in the sky. It may be Nibiru. This is the flickering sun. The sun is wobbling because they say that our planet is out of its normal, usual orbit. This is really weird because the sun is supposed to have set already, and it's coming back with this pinkish light color, and suddenly the ISS cuts its feed and it's supposed to go dark, but the ISS is still there, lit up by this red color. So they say that we've got this other planet, coming in our direction, and it's gonna cross our sky, the planet of the crossing. And well, I guess it's here. My guess is it's here, you know, and we've got evidence, footage, pictures we're going to show you right now that confirms this footage from the ISS. This color. So this is 3 a.m. in the morning and the ISS is lit up with this color. Okay, take a look at this, folks. I'm going to show you. I want you to sit down right now.
Hi, James. I live in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I was watching your breaking news 3 a.m. Nibiru sunrise video recently and remembered that I had witnessed something similar. On October 15th, 2016, I looked outside and noticed the sky was unusually bright for 3 a.m. But it wasn't until I looked towards the southwest that I knew something wasn't right. The sky was unusually red. Now, I'm in the Mountain Daylight Time Zone. It's almost 3 o'clock in the morning. My southwest line of sight passed over a reservoir and provincial parkland, so no real city lights to speak of. At the time, no forest fires or fireworks displays. While the southwest sky was red, the rest of the city was lit up with white light. So I grabbed my SLR and took this video in order at the time to prove to my sleeping girlfriend that I wasn't exaggerating. So James, what do you think?
First of all, I think we've got wonderful fans and subscribers, and I think if you have anything you want to share with us, you must email us at thatimpossiblechannel@gmail.com. Like this source said, the sky was divided by two colors at 3 a.m. in the morning, and one was red. And my official response is, this is what I think. What color is this? This is red. 3 a.m. in the morning in the ISS live feed, and it's red. So whatever is going on, it is going on. It is there, and it's not a lie. The flickering sun. Let's show you a footage we received today by this other anonymous source. Thank you very much. Here the sun is rising on a typical day. The not typical fact is that we do not have any chemtrailing. This is weird, right? So this is what the source caught. The sun wobbling, again, flickering. It's supposed to be going up, but it suddenly goes down and up again. And this is what the camera tapes. This is what it gets. This is the result of it coming up and down very quickly. Okay? So this is just this is happening all over, and people are sending this in. We've got more on the flickering sun, and it's happening. Okay? It's not fake. Do you understand this? It's not fake. Sun, something is wobbling, and we've got footage of it. So you must share this right now. We don't know if there will be a tomorrow as we know it. I believe what's coming is for the best, but I really do not know what's going to happen. Okay? From now on, it's up to us to report and share. Take a look at that. This is the moon. This is from another another anonymous source. And this is the moon and the same 3 a.m. sunrise. Okay? Thank you very much for sharing this with us. This is impressive, guys. This is just impressive. Please keep taking pictures, taking videos, and send it in to thatimpossiblechannel@gmail.com. Or if the video seems too big, it's above 25 megabytes, please do send it through Mediafire or some other type of website, download website. Take a look at that, guys. We've got this pinkish sunrise at 3 a.m. in the morning. It's not pinkish, it's becoming red, right? It's more of a red type. It's, yeah, well, they say that Nibiru Planet X, the prophecies foretell that it's coming with this iron color, right? So it may be Nibiru Planet X. This may be real, and it may be here. So this is the sun flickering from the ISS. Again, this red iron color and this pinkish sunrise, right? This is from Rambo Napper. Thank you very much. The sun wobbling. Take a look at that. It's going up, up, up. It's getting bigger, right? But suddenly it goes back. What? is that? You know what I mean? So it's wobbling. It's wobbling for sure. So we've got the sun wobbling and the pinkish sunrise. But what's most impressive is that before the sun comes up, take a look at that. The ISS is lit up by this red color, which is being seen in Australia, the UK, Netherlands, Canada, and some parts of the US, right? The 3 a.m. sunrise, the red 3 a.m. sunrise. Before the sun comes up, it's lit up, and when the sun seems to get up there, it disappears. You just can't see it anymore as clear as before. So whatever it is, I don't know if it's a second sun, I don't know if it is, I don't know what it is. Okay, now we've got these two UFOs from Rambo Nopper, for example. We've got this UFO hovering over our skies. It's huge, it's got this circular shape, and it seems like a cigar UFO. This is really, really amazing. Thank you very much, Rambo Nopper. This is really amazing. It's not a cloud, because the clouds look like this from the ISS. Okay, so whatever that is, it's huge, and it's observing our skies. So we may be facing an alien invasion or an alien war, a secret alien war beyond, I don't know, maybe our governments are at war with these alien races, and they don't want to talk about it, and that's why they're trying to make us pay attention, to the election and all that, all this mambo jambo. I don't know. Take a look at that, guys. We've got this from another source. So we got this alien Black Knight satellite from another source, okay, and this is really compelling because it looks like a Lockheed spy plane, but they say that it's there for 30,000 years and it's an alien satellite. Now we opened it on Photoshop just to show you that it's not fake. There is something there. It seems to be the Black Knight satellite. It really does. Now it's really it's really wow. So we've got alien crafts hovering over our planet, and we've got this other light source. Please do share this. We don't know what's going to happen right now. So do subscribe, share, comment below what you think about it, and I'll see you again.
It's been almost 10 years since little Pluto was demoted from being a planet, but today scientists from the California Institute of Technology have announced that they finally have solid evidence for a planet X, a true ninth planet on the edge of our solar system.
Is believed to be far beyond the orbit of Pluto, roughly the size of Neptune, with a mass 10 times that of Earth.
There are things out there, little icy objects that are orbiting in a funny way, and nobody was quite sure why. It seemed like there might be something with gravity pulling on them, but nobody quite understood. And finally, these scientists that you talked about took a really hard look at it, did simulations, calculations, and they came up with the explanation: it probably is this giant planet.
I think I read somewhere it orbits the sun every 10,000 to 20,000 years.
Right.
Is that why no one has seen it to this point?
No, that's not why. It's because it's so dim. It's so far away that even though it's big, it's very, very dim and it would be very tough to spot with a telescope.
I'm also fascinated at the idea that this planet could be so far out there and still our sun be the mass that is keeping it in the gravitational pull of our solar system.
Right, yeah, but no, it's true.
That's incredible. And so there was a thought at one point from scientists that when they thought that there was something beyond Pluto, that it might have been all the massive objects floating in the Kuiper belt, but it's not.
Right, so all those objects are out there and they have a lot of mass, and originally the scientists said, look, a planet is such a crazy idea, maybe it's the Kuiper belt itself that's pulling it on itself and making these orbits look funny.
And when we talk about the mass of this planet X, this ninth planet, being 10 times that of Earth, for those who are not scientists, what does that really mean, the mass of a planet versus Earth's mass?
Well, if you could put it on a scale, how much it would weigh.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really it. And so it's bigger, it's bulkier, it's got more heft, it's got more gravity. It's this huge elephant in the living room, except we didn't know it was there.
You mentioned that scientists haven't seen it yet because of how far away it is and how
Right.
dim it is. Is there a way for them to get visual evidence?
Yes, so the biggest telescopes in the world can theoretically see this thing if they're looking in exactly the right place. And with the publication of this new paper today, they are now going to start to look in earnest.
How much further out there is this planet X than the rest of the planets in the solar system? I mean, it's
well, so Pluto we think of as the really out at the very edge, the very farthest thing that you could call a planet, even though we don't anymore. And
I'm still supporting Pluto's right to be a planet.
But this thing is 5 times further out than Pluto.
fascinating. Is there any chance it's not a planet?
No, there's always, it's very foolish to say no chance because, you just don't know what you don't know. But the odds are looking very, very good.
60 billion miles from the sun.
Yep.
Amazing stuff. Michael Lemonick, thank you so much. Fascinating stuff.
Great, thanks.
Now, here's the asteroid story. An asteroid the size of the Rose Bowl, more than 1,000 feet across, feels its way toward the Earth right now. It'll come by first in 2029, and we'll see it up there. It'll be closer than our satellites, a thing the size of the Rose Bowl hurtling through the air. And then it comes again in 2036, and that's when it may get interesting. The debate over just how close it'll get is sparking some serious debate between Russian scientists and American scientists. Here's a satellite picture of the thing. This is from, well, with this and, this tells you nothing. But see it there? I don't know, that circly thing in the middle maybe? This was from 2004. It doesn't look very intimidating here. Both sides seem to agree that in 3 decades, the asteroid will fly very close to Earth. But Russian scientists warn that our planet's gravity could change the asteroid's path and set it on a collision course. NASA scientists say there is a minuscule, little bitty chance of that happening. 1 in 250,000. Better than winning the lotto, and somebody will. Joining us now, Michio Kaku. He's a theoretical physics professor at City University of New York, CUNY. He's also the author of Physics of the Future, and a new book coming out in about a month, and we'll tell you about that in about a month. So, good to see you. 2029, it flies by underneath the satellites.
That's right. Mark it on your calendar. Friday the 13th, April 2036. The
that's
big
the
one.
second pass.
On the second pass, right. The first pass, like you said, it comes right underneath our satellites. You can actually see it whizzing right overhead.
Wow.
And on the second pass, it might actually be a nation buster. It'll take out Germany. It'll take out France, England.
Not England, not England.
right? Or the entire northeast of the United States.
Careful.
It'll hit with the force of 100,000 Hiroshima bombs.
Really? If it hits?
If it hits, right. It's a catastrophe beyond human comprehension. And the head of the Russian Space Agency has said that the Russian scientists should think of some ways of deflecting it or handling this menace in 2036.
What are we going to do? Shoot it with a laser?
Well, everyone thinks we'll send Bruce Willis out there with the space shuttle. But the space shuttle can't even reach outer space. We're phasing it out, and the space shuttle only spins wheels around the planet Earth. It cannot even go to deep space. We need a new booster rocket to take us out there.
Maybe China will build us one.
Maybe, and then we have to nudge it out of the way. The farther it is, the easier it is to push it out with rockets so it'll miss the planet Earth. But it's something that we have to take seriously. This is the first major threat from a giant meteor or asteroid.
Were it to hit us, do we know what it would do to our rotation around the sun and the spinning on the axis?
Well, it will definitely affect the rotation of the Earth as it goes around the sun. The immediate impact would be a gigantic shock wave going out maybe 50 to 100 miles, then firestorms going out to hundreds of miles beyond that.
Firestorms.
And then meteorites raining back down on the planet Earth. So the devastation would be on the order of 500 to 1,000 miles. Think of a bullseye containing half the United States. That's the potential impact. And again, it's a very tiny probability, but we're watching it very carefully.
Because the thinking among some of these Russian scientists is that the first time it passes, the gravitational pull of the Earth could pull it closer, and then on the second pass in 2036,
the wild card is also the atmospheric disturbances. It's going to come right to the outskirts of our own atmosphere. Friction is going to take place, and that's unpredictable. We simply don't know how it's going to react as it whizzes through the atmosphere of the Earth, and that could affect the second pass, and that's why we're keeping our fingers crossed in 2036.
Two sets of fingers crossed. But isn't the world ending in 2012? The Mayan calendar seems to indicate.
Well, if you look at the Mayan calendar, it actually says that it's cyclical, and we could be witnessing a rebirth. We should be celebrating then. And personally, I hope to be around in 2013. So don't sell the store, don't get divorced, don't ruin your life in 2012.
All right, I'm sure some people will. News from the future. 2012 is going to be weird. It's great to see you. I'll see you in a month for that new book, right?
Right, Physics of the Future, about the next 50 to 100 years.
I can't wait.